Appreciate you being here. Obviously excited to get a win. Anytime you win in college football, it's good. And you know, I've never had a game where we start out with a 23-play drive, so that was something I've never experienced before, and it was amazing to see that. But really ate up a lot of clock too. But really proud of our guys for that, finishing that drive, at least getting some points. Disappointed when you get a touchdown for sure, but really good job of starting the game and taking control of that early. You know, I think yesterday's game was probably a game of missed opportunities. We left a lot of points out there for sure. It's one thing when you look at the film, you're like, you know, we're this block away or this decision made or this drop away from really having a big touchdown. And, you know, that's something we really got to continue to improve on because, you know, obviously as the season plays on and we get in conference games, the more touchdowns you can get and field goals, it's gonna be a lot better situation for you. So I think that's an emphasis we got to make. When you look at the film, I don't think it was one area. You know, we missed a throw here, or we dropped the ball, or didn't finish a block on this run. In fact, on that first drive, I remember we had a counter back to the boundary, and we had a hat for everybody, and we just didn't kind of finish our blocks, or he probably walks in. So, you know, those are things we got to correct, but I am excited to get a win. I thought our guys played extremely hard, and really, I think that was one thing. Going in, we had an idea. We thought we could run the football, and obviously that's kind of what we're going to do to start with, and that seemed to play out as the game went. And just really proud of our guys for getting a big win. Okay.
Why do you think drops have been such an issue this year? It seems like it's higher than past seasons.
I really wish I knew. I know it's you know, I think it's just, you know, we got to really concentrate and focus. I mean, those guys are good players. They can catch the football. It's not about that. I just think it's one of those things where, you know, as a receiver, you got to really just focus. Those guys that can focus all the way through to the tuck and go back. And I know Coach Hurd works really hard on the fundamentals of watching the ball all the way to the tuck and so forth, just the basic fundamentals of catching the ball. And, you know, I wish I had the answer for that. The only thing I can tell you is we're going to work extremely hard to try to fix it. I know it's something Coach Malzahn's made emphasis on with our guys even before this game. So we got to do a better job if we want to be a championship team.
Does it happen in practice, or is it just something that surprises you when you get to the game?
Yeah.
Like guys who are typically sure-handed.
Yeah, no, it hadn't really come up in practice much at all. I mean, you know, and the thing about in college football, it's not necessarily just the drops. You have to make contested catches, you know. And that's something I think that people, you know, in high school, a lot of times guys get wide open. When we watch high school players, you're evaluating the receiver, and you're like, you know, he's open and he's catching the ball. And that's why you got to go a step further. Does he catch it with his hands? Does he look it all the way to the top? Because in college football, it's hard to get open. So everybody plays so much man and all the different, you know, the better players and so forth. So, you know, it's something that definitely is a concern from the standpoint of it's something we got to focus on and continue to get better at.
How do you work on that in practice? Just catching balls over and over again?
Yeah, that's part of it, but I think really just an emphasis. You know, it's a mindset, I believe. I think our players have to, you know, I think when you're an individual player, whatever position you play, each week there's certain things I think you try to focus on. You know, hey, what is, you know, like quarterback, okay, my footwork needs to be better on this certain drop, or this screen, I got to make sure I get to the right spot to make this throw or whatever. As a receiver, I think those are things individually and as a group in that room that they're going to focus on and we'll focus on and get better. But it's one of those things that I think we just got to improve our concentration and our focus all the way through the tuck.
Coach, it's not something you can see on a stat sheet, but how big is Bowser's ability to protect essential for this offense?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, he's a big body, first of all, because a lot of guys, what they want to do in this day and age is they want to get 5 one-on-one blocks in your O-line because that creates the matchups they want. And they do that different ways. You can line up with 5 guys on the line of scrimmage. They can blitz one guy, then make it a 5-man deal, or whatever the case may be. So therefore, it's always going to leave your back responsible for a couple different guys. And if they have one of those guys on, you know, we try as much as we can to design the protection where our running backs have good matchups. But having Bowser back there as a bigger back, you know, makes it a luxury for sure because, you know, you get all kinds of exotic blitzes, especially on third down.
So you mentioned him as a bigger back. So there was a particular play, Plumlee's fumble that he recovered, right?
Yeah.
He smashes through the middle, opens the hole for Plumlee to run through. He fumbles it.
That's right.
Bowser recovers, and then next play, 22-yard catch.
Yeah.
He's a big body, but that versatility.
No, that's a great point. That was a great effort play by Isaiah there. I think it says a lot about who he is. The guy never quits, and he stepped up in the protection. They bailed everybody out. Pretty sure I'm thinking about the right one. John Rice took off and the ball got knocked out. Yeah, that's right. It was actually a draw. So he took off and Bowser was doing what he was supposed to do. The ball came out and he got on it, big, strong guy, and probably had to fight a little bit at the bottom of the pile and held on to it. Then the next play he catches a wheel route. So he's very versatile back, I think, and I like the way he ran yesterday. He ran extremely hard. He played, ran physical, and we need him to continue to do that.
Considering his performance against Florida Atlantic a week earlier, what's most frustrating for you about John Rice's performance against Georgia Tech?
Just the interception as much as anything.
What happened on that play?
Yeah, just made a poor decision. I mean, didn't see the guy, and you know, it's an option route. It's a read route by a receiver, and I think he got hung on that a little too long. Probably should have gone on and progressed, and the safety's in the middle of the field. He just didn't see him. So just, you know, same deal with the one at FAU. You know, it's just like, you know, you got to be able to see the field, obviously, and feel and see where everybody is. And, you know, obviously, you know, he's still learning some on the run, but, you know, I think, what do we have, 3 drops yesterday? He was, I guess 8 to 16 is what this says. So if we catch those 3 balls at 11 to 16, we feel pretty good. But the poor decision on that one was probably the most. And then, you know, we missed a screen too that would have been a touchdown. And, you know, we worked on that a few minutes ago. So, again, it's a learning process. You got to continue to improve and get better just like everybody else.
Going into conference play now, what area would you say most important for John Rice to improve, you know, going into conference?
I think the big thing for him is just he needs to execute the offense. You know, it's one of the things that during the week we really try to say, hey, this play, we want to make sure our eyes are in this spot or whatever it is, and I think that's the key. Whatever the game plan is, he's got to make sure that he's focused on doing it exactly like he's supposed to do it. And then obviously the turnovers, you know, no matter what happens, no matter what the look is or what you didn't see or did see, we can't turn the ball over. And that's the thing that really we got to get fixed with him, I think, for us to really get where we want to be.
We were just talking about John Rice through 4 games, but overall the offense, how would you evaluate things going into conference play?
Yeah, I think we're heading in the right direction. We just, like I said, left some points out there yesterday, but I think obviously, you know, we got some talented running backs. I think we're got a chance to be good up front. We're still a little bit of a work in progress in some respects, but you know, to win a championship, I do think you have to be able to run the football. It's something I think we obviously, our team believes in. Coach Malzahn obviously believes in that as well, and I think that's something that we're going to be able to do, but it's going to get harder and harder each and every week, and therefore we got to be able to make plays out on the perimeter to help with that. But I like where we are. I think we're still in a great spot. We just, you know, the things that happened yesterday just seemed like we couldn't ever get that one play to get us going. We miss a throw or we drop a ball or miss a block, and you know, we got to get all that stuff clicking, and hopefully now that we're getting conference play when it really counts, that we'll get that stuff fixed.
You know, you talk about leaving points on the field, Coach. Even with that in mind, like, you know, we could really nitpick and probably find something in Louisville and FAU as well for missed opportunities.
Yeah.
Team's still 3-1. What does that say?
Yeah, I think that's the thing you got to remember is we won the game and we are 3-1, and we're excited about that. And, but at the end of the day, each week's, you know, if you look around the country, each week's a different chapter of the book, so to speak. You know, you better be ready to go. And, you know, I know SMU's got a good football team. Haven't watched those guys much at all yet, but just from, you know, seeing those guys over the last year or so, they're very talented. We're going to have a work cut out for us, but we get to play here in a bounce house, and we'll have a good week of practice and be ready to go.
A couple weeks ago, the talk was about trying to get more touches for Johnny Richardson. What about for Ryan O'Keefe? It seems like through 4 games, he's not really made much of a splash.
Yeah, let's see. We got him a few touches yesterday, I guess, and I think he had 1 drop. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's something definitely, it's a focus trying to get him touches. A lot of it depends on what defense we're seeing, too. You know, yesterday, trust me, they know they know that Ryan O'Keefe needs to get the ball, too. So, sometimes there's opportunities for other people because of that, tilting coverage his way or whatever. So, you know, each week though, we got to continue to find ways to get him the ball for sure.
Receivers obviously love getting the ball. I know you said the game plan, you were able to run the ball, and that's what you were going to do yesterday against Georgia Tech. But the receivers get frustrated sometimes when, you know, they feel like they should get the ball maybe more than they are.
No, I don't think so.
Has that happened?
Not that I know of. We won, so I know they're excited about winning. So
I know
it's
you
a
can't.
team game. You want to win, right?
I know you can't open up the book and show us the game plan, obviously, but how much of a consideration was holding some things back for SMU going into the Georgia Tech game?
No, there wasn't none of that. We just, this is the game plan we had for Georgia Tech. You know, Georgia Tech and SMU are different defensively, so really not a lot of similarities there.
Did your time, your first in Auburn, did you overlap with Brett Lashley, the SMU head coach? Were you guys there
Yeah,
Auburn
my
together?
first, 2013. Yeah, I was there with him then. He's a great guy, really does a good job. I'm excited for him when he got that job, and not going to enjoy playing against him. He does a great job with his team, and they look like they have a talented offense for sure. And defensively, I know their defensive coordinator too. Going against him, he does a good job. So big challenge for us.
What have you liked about R.J. Harvey the last couple of games? And
Yeah.
what do you think he can mean to the offense going forward?
You know, I think he gave us a spark yesterday for sure. If you really look back at how that game played out, you know, when he got in there, it seemed like he made plays, and he's a big physical guy that can run. The guys bounce off of him. He took a big hit and kept on going, and so I'm excited about him. He's a talented guy. He can catch it out of the backfield and run between the tackles, and I think he's improving each and every day. You know, he was injured when I first got here, or was coming off an injury. Didn't get to see as much, but it seems to me like he's really taking that next step, headed in the right direction.
You're going back to coming out of camp. Kamora Gamble said that the thing he felt like he got better the most at was run blocking. Do you feel like that materialized against Georgia Tech, where you guys are running the ball?
Yesterday, I'll say he was better yesterday. I know that was a focus, Coach Blackman, and it was working with him on this week, and I definitely think he took a step in the right direction. And he's a talented guy, but that's a huge part of the position he plays. So we need him to continue to grow, but he got better for sure.
I know you're not the special teams coach, but how reassuring is it to you as the offensive coordinator when maybe a drive stalls, you can't get in the end zone, you have a kicker like Colton Boomer who was able to connect on 4 field goals yesterday?
Yeah, that was big. I tell you, you don't really appreciate kickers until you don't have one, you know, and you know, over the years, everywhere I've been, you know, those guys are a little bit sometimes underappreciated, but you know, it's good to see him come in and hit a few field goals there, and I guess 4 yesterday, so big day for him, and really proud of how he handled that.
Did Georgia Tech show you anything defensively that threw you guys off a little bit that you weren't expecting?
They were a little different. I think their head coach, I read somewhere, was getting more involved in defense, so they were a little different. Flashed some odd, a little more odd maybe than we maybe anticipated, but you know, I would say it was in the same family, but yeah, a little bit different at times. At the end of the day, though, I thought you know, you had to be prepared for, and we kind of anticipated we might see some different looks, but you never know what they are. You know what I mean? So as the game went on, I thought we got a beat on what they were doing and hit some good runs there for sure.
Well, how do you think John Rice responded to that being a little bit different than you anticipated?
You know, he responded well, except for the throw to the other team. We don't want that, but no, he did fine. Especially made a couple of really good reads in the run game. He got the protection right on 3rd down twice, and a look that he hadn't seen before based on just his rules. So I thought that was really good. Yeah, so I think he handled it pretty well, I think.
So when you and that last year were on staff together, you were an analyst?
I was an analyst.
And was he a GA?
No, he was the offense coordinator. That would have been 2000.
Okay, so he's already the coordinator, okay, because I'm about to ask.
Yeah, he was 2013.
Okay, I was about to ask, like, you know, what was it like being a GA under Gus
Yeah,
Malzahn and stuff like that? Yeah.
I wasn't, so Brett would know.
Yeah.
All right.
Talk a little bit more about passing. 49 yards, though. I know the game plan called for more running, and that's what you could get. But can you guys win games with 49 yards passing?
We won Saturday, so I guess that's the way I would answer that. Yeah. All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.